based on mostly a true story, we explore the autumn years of a few bank robbers who have a certain level of notoriety. One of the robbers in particular is considered by those who meet him, who he robs, to be a charming and happy thief. And that's the story that this character focuses on, mostly. So, does the old man and the gun deliver on the humor and mostly true story hinted at in the trailers? Or should we signal life alert for this film? Let's talk about it in this review. The story regarding Forrest Tucker, the happy gentleman bank robber, played by Robert Redford, is mostly true. In fact, at one point during this film, we get to take a look back at some of the earlier times in his life where he was arrested and how he managed to escape several prisons that were trying to reform him. During that montage, there is a scene from one of Robert Redford's earlier films. This is way back in the day when he was a young man in his prime, and I can't seem to place the name of that film even today. If you saw the film and you know the name of that one scene that they used in the montage from one of his earlier films from his earlier works, go ahead and leave that in the comments section below. It's driving me bonkers. Thanks in advance. Okay, back to this film. Redford delivers a wonderful performance of a man who understands what he's passionate about in life, and also a man who wants to live life to the fullest. In fact, I think there's an argument to be made that this film might actually be about following your passion and your heart, even if that means becoming a bank robber. Redford delivers all of the emotion of a man late in life who has accepted what his life is and embraces it with a smile. Here we find a man who wants to feel alive and not just be alive. And so, as we see in this film, his whole life he has set out to feel the excitement that life gives you when you're following your heart. Except in this case, he's charming bank managers, he's charming bank tellers as he's robbing them. And he also seems to find a certain level of enjoyment regarding high-speed chases with police officers after he's robbed the banks. And as we find out, he just has to smile every time he's concocting a new plan for how he's going to escape whatever jail he's currently being held in. From his perspective, he is living life to the fullest, and Redford delivers every single ounce of believability in his performance. This film does a great job of exploring one particular period in a man's life. Now, as I just stated, we do get to go back and we see the montage of his life, but that is just a very, very brief moment in this film. The majority of time that we spend in this film with Tucker, he is working with two other men. He has a team of three, him and two other partners. And those partners are played by Danny Glover and Tom Waits. And over the years, they've worked out a system that gets them into the banks and out discreetly and quickly. And to really drive this point home, to really showcase their talents, in one scene, a cop played by Casey Affleck is actually in the bank as they're robbing it, and he is completely unaware. Him and his team are just that good. And you guys all know the saying, right? It's not a job when you love what you do. And this trio really appears to love what they do. In a moment though, there is a twist, and we see Forrest meets Jewel, played by Sissy Spacek. And the bond that develops between the two of them kind of gives you hope that the fondness they seem to have for each other might actually be the trick to reform Forrest and get him out of that bank robbery lifestyle. Love conquers all, right? Right. And Tucker loves robbing banks. So the complex and complicated relationship that develops between Tucker and Jewel is filled with charm and heart and humor. But just like sailors are always called back to the sea, Tucker is always called back to the nearest bank. So because of that, we get to experience a beautiful but difficult or complex relationship develop between the two of them over the course of the film. The Old Man and the Gun is playing at your local movie theater right now, and I am definitely recommending a big screen viewing of this film. This movie was shot with a perfect vintage look. The way they do the close-ups, the way they use angles, the colors in this film. It all just looked like yesteryear, and that was awesome. Plus, we get some wonderful performances out of the cast in this film to really make this movie feel authentic. And I think that was really important because this movie is based on a real life story with real life people. And this review wouldn't be complete if I didn't mention the score of this film. It's a delightful but subtle jazzy composition that just kind of floats underneath all of the scenes, just kind of moving things along, really just building into the world that this film takes place in, just maintaining that theme of charm. And because of all of the reasons that we've discussed in this review, The Old Man and the Gun is getting all the high fives from this guy. The Old Man and the Gun is playing at your local movie theater right now. Check it out.